Good morning, folks. This is welcome to my shop. Um, Today, I want to talk to you about something. We're coming up on the winter season, and everybody's main concern is freezing water lines um, and the problems that come with it. Um, One of the big things that I come across problems with in the wintertime um, are the hydrants. Everybody's familiar with them. They have them. They talk like they really hate them, and I always run into the same three problems. And if you sometimes you come across problems, multiple problems, but it's always the same three. um, I've been using these and have had them on facilities that uh, I've worked on for years and years. Some of them are 20, 25 years old. The principle of them is almost unchanged in 50 years. Uh, and these things will last forever. But like anything around the farm, it needs maintenance. Um, some of the maintenance issues, and we'll go through those first because they're simple. As you see, there's a lot of pivot pins and pivots here, uh, down in here, and around this seal. Um, these just need frequent oil. Uh, I would say when you think about it, oil it. At least hit it once, twice a year, especially going into the winter season. It helps keep it moving freely, just like new. All right. When it starts stiffening up, you start seeing leaks here, and you start having problems with flooding out your pasture or a muddy mess around the hydrant. The second, okay, now let's get into the problems. Okay, people always call me my hydrant's frozen. What do I do? Well, now I'm into a little bit of an ordeal trying to heat up the pipe. Sometimes I have to dig it up and thaw it. Um, Regardless, it's a pain in the neck. But I always find what they have is they have a garden hose hooked up straight to this and coiled up and sitting on a rack. Looks pretty, takes care of the garden hose, but it creates a problem because at the end of the garden hose, they have a garden nozzle, so that they can use it. So what happens is when it's on, they shut it off and it creates a vapor lock, which doesn't allow the hydrant to work like it was designed. So it won't drain the water down. So you have to disconnect the water hose. On the bottom, I'm going to scoot a little bit closer. You see this right here. This is your drain hose, okay? This works on almost the same exact principle as a plunger in a toilet. Um, when you shut the valve off, it seals off the water inlet and opens up to this and drains, okay? And drains all the water outside of the hydrant below your frost line. Now, depending on your climate, is going to determine how deep your frost line is. Here in Southern Virginia, the ground rarely, if ever, freezes below 18 inches. So I have to ensure that this part of my uh, hydrant is buried at least 18 inches. I kind of err on the side of caution and go sometimes 20, 24 inches underground. Your inlet should be at least 24 inches underground. The next problem that you run into is they dig a hole, they put this thing in, they hook it to their plumbing right here, which is I believe this is a 1/2 inch. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see inside. You see that little plunger? And let's see if we can make it move. If I don't knock myself out, I'll continue with the video. You can maybe see it move a little bit. Okay, that's your seal. Okay, that seals and drains out. But getting back to the problem is they hook it all up, they put it in the ground, and then they backfill their hydrant, and they call it good to go. Now, depending on what your substrate is for your soil, a lot of places it's clay, loam. The further south you get, the more clay you get. Well, clay is a good sealant, not a good drainage. So what you want to do is you want to keep in mind 2 things. One, every time you turn this off, you're going to lose water that's inside here, and it's going to drain into the ground. That's why it doesn't freeze. Okay? And if it has nowhere to come out of the weep hole because of clay or very dense soil, there's nowhere for it to drain, so it's not going to drain fast enough to prevent freezing. So what I always recommend to my customers when I install these is we need to put 1/2 inch gravel almost all up above the frost line, and then backfill the top area with dirt around the top. Okay, and the reason I say this is because now it allows this to drain out quickly. Within a minute or 2, that whole system is drained out, and there's no chance of it to freeze up. And by putting 1/2 inch, you're not allowing sediment to seep in as quickly as you normally would. Okay, so now we've got this thing hooked up, we've got our gravel in the system, and then we compact around it a little bit to make sure it's steady, but it still rocks. If your plumbing is newer, or even if it's older, you have either PEX or you have iron piping, which gets brittle over the years. So that kind of movement, every time you pull this handle up or pull it down, it's like taking a thin piece of metal and bend it over and over and over. Eventually it's going to break. So what I always recommend is I take a T-post and I will hammer a T-post carefully into the ground once this is installed. And I want to make sure that T-post clears my plumbing underneath. Apologize for the compressor. We got some work going on behind me, so they need air. But this will stabilize it, and it'll keep that rocking motion out. This is not a project that requires a professional plumber. So you could do it yourself. I'm going to call it a level 2. And the only reason it's a level 2 is because it requires digging in. If you're like I am, I'm not a big fan of digging. If I can dig it with my own, with power tools, I'm going to do it. If not, I'm going to hire the local kid and give him a few bucks to dig a hole for me so that I can install it. You just want to really take a look at the instruction card here that comes with them. I'm a big fan of these pro plumbers. They're readily available at any feed store. Tractor Supply carries them, and they come in different lengths, so depending on how far you want to put it in the ground. So my northern friends here where you have a frost line that's might be 28, 30 inches, 32 inches um, deep, you're going to want to get a much taller hydrant. Um, that being said, the biggest thing is to really take a look at your maintenance program. I have these all around my farm. Um, I've probably got 4 or 5 of them that I've installed, and I haven't had any problems with them. Take a little bit of time, um, install them properly, make sure they're square and straight up and down, and put a little time into maintaining your equipment. A little bit of maintenance, 5 minutes of maintenance will save you 5 hours of repairs. And I don't know about you, but when you've got 40 acres of farm to take care of, if I could save myself an hour, I'm all about it. Uh, Again, this is really super simple. Um, I use these in combination with my drinking posts. Um, so not only do I have the drinking post, but just outside the pasture fence, I have access to water in case I need to hose down a horse on a really, really hot day. I can do that. And that's the other neat feature with these when they're properly installed. If you install them below the frost line, because when you shut them off, the water drains out, what you're going to find is when you turn it on, the water is cool. It's going to be a consistent, probably close to 60 degrees year round. So that being said, you're delivering cool water for hosing down a horse. It's consistent, winter, summer, doesn't matter. As long as the water's moving and it's coming up fresh, it's going to be about 60 degrees. So hosing down a horse or washing a horse in the fall, they're going to get the same temperature that they would in the heat of summer. Um, but again, that's your preference as to what temperature you quit washing your horses outside. Um, I have these outside my goat pen, outside my chicken coop. They're just very convenient. I don't have to take my gloves off or mess around with turning a dial. Excuse me, a ton of times. What I can do is this camera's funky. Just a simple flip it up. When I'm done, push it down. Um, you can also view this video on my website, which is drinkingpostva.com, and there's information and tips, and it's still under development, but I'm going to do tutorial videos on maintenance of equipment, maintenance of infrastructure, buildings, things like that, calling upon my 45 years in the construction trades as a carpenter um, and equipment operator and a mechanic, and share some of that knowledge. I also am going to be doing reviews on different equipment that help make a job easier around the farm or a horse stable. Um, and I want to let you know in advance that the way I'm going about this is not to, I'm not endorsing any company. I'm not taking proceeds from any company. I do a lot of research before I buy something. And if I use it and don't like it, I'm going to be straight up. I'm not taking money from anybody. So I could turn around and say, that's a thumbs down, or that's a big bang for your buck. Um, One of the things right now, two of the things that I'm involved in that I really, really will strongly endorse is drinking posts, automatic water, as well as EcoFlex uh, rubber barn flooring. Both of those I've done a lot of research into, and it's kind of a little bit of a expensive initial outlay, but when you look and crunch the numbers long term, and most people starting or remodeling a stable are in it for long term, you're going to save yourself a ton of money with those two products. I do have on my other channels, uh, my other videos, where I've evaluated these products both with installation, and I'm now a couple months into the EcoFlex matting, and I really, really, really like it. It's held up. Um, the horses like it. It's easy on my feet. Um, People who come into the stable notice it right away and say how comfortable it is to walk on it. It can be laid over any sort of substrate, concrete to crushed stone, and it's simple to put in. But check out those videos and like them, share them. I could use your help evaluating them. So that being said, good luck. Take some time to winterize and get out there and ride. It's beautiful fall weather, cooler temperatures. Horses are a little more comfortable and feisty, maybe, but they need to be out there and enjoying the weather, and so do you. So, happy trails.